I have been joined by Joyce Zempare, who's the Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
God's grace, we're doing well.
Thank you for being here.
And yourself?
I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good.
We're also expecting Jean-Marie Formadi, who is the part of the National Communications team member of the NDC, and I'll be introducing her as soon as she arrives. But we'll take a look at our first story, and I'll be reading from citinews.com. It's coming from the Special Prosecutor, and he's saying people should stop intimidating heads of anti-corruption agencies. So he's telling politicians specifically to stop intimidating heads of anti-corruption agencies. It says here the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, has condemned persons he says are attacking the Auditor General, Daniel Dumolevo, over his professional work. The Auditor General has been the subject of verbal attack since an audit report into the operations of the getfund became public, with some persons mentioned in the report accusing the Auditor General of being malicious and targeting them. However, the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, who is head of another anti-corruption agency, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, said such attacks are an affront to the fight against corruption in the country. So I'm going to quote what he said on Eyewitness News with Omaru Sanda. In this country, the political divide is both fighting anti-corruption agencies when the institutions are doing their professional work. You can't fight corruption by politicizing it. For instance, the audit service, there's a provision for a surcharge. If the Auditor General, through the report of his staff, cannot disagree with them and therefore supports their conclusion and surcharges you, the law provides an avenue so you can challenge it. Why personalize it to the Auditor General? That is intimidation, so it makes the Auditor General incapable of performing the anti-corruption duty. It creates a problem for the fight against corruption. It is inconsistent with our avowed pronouncement as a nation that we intend to fight corruption, because intimidating the head of an anti-corruption agency is a non-starter. So that's what he has to say. And we, of course, know that the former administrator of getfund, Sam Gariba, came out to say that the Auditor General was being malicious with the work that he had done. I'm going to quote what he said about the Auditor General specifically. He said, the Auditor General is not the law. The Auditor General has gone and made some scandalous claims that I administered this thing without the board's permission. I had two boards at the time. So he goes on and say, how can the Auditor General reach such a scandalous conclusion? What is their stake? Other people have come out to call out the Auditor General as well. And the Special Prosecutor is saying, let's not personalize. If we have an issue with the Auditor General, we can just take the office to court. Joyce.
Thank you very much. Once again, let me say good morning to you, your crew, and our wonderful viewers who are taking time to also listen and participate in this discussion. And I can't say that without saying good morning to the President of the Republic. I know he's in Oslo. Very soon he'll be going to Switzerland as well. And we know with the Switzerland travel, that's a milestone for us. Since 1959, this is the first time an African president has been invited to that country. So it's good news. We hope that there will be a lot of ties and other things that will strengthen the cooperation between the two countries and that Scandinavian region as a whole. And then to the Vice President who is sitting in, and all Ghanaians and our wonderful citizens. In fact, it's not for anything that the good Lord has brought us here and has given us such a man at this time of our life. Well, the Special Prosecutor and then the Auditor General and the brouhaha going on. I know the drop from the Auditor General is coming based on some findings of the Auditor General against getfund and beneficiaries. I cannot say this without going back a little and delving on other issues where I've seen that, look, it's been one major problem in this country where people, I'm not going to take sides, in fact, I'm going to take out the politics out of the partisan politics out of it today and deal with this as a Ghanaian and also as a parent, and likely maybe somebody who might have also benefited, should have benefited somewhere or the other. Yes, you know, because there's always a criteria, there's always a measurement, there's always a way of selecting who we term as needy, who we term as poor, who we term as underprivileged, and all those things. But if we look down memory lane, let me ask you, how did you see the disbursement of the cocoa scholarship?
The children of the farmers usually did not benefit from those scholarships. Yeah.
It was only the elite, the well-to-do, who tend to benefit from those cocoa scheme scholarships than the poor farmer who farms throughout the year with that hard system of farming on this planet, and yet their children will not benefit. You understand? Well, I know people are putting up... Look, the good book says all things are lawful, but not all things that are helpful. Yeah. Just at times it gets to a point you think you might need some assistance one way or the other. But look beyond the spectacles and see that there are people who need it even much more than yourself. But my only problem with the Auditor General was the way he narrowed it to only people in governance.
Oh, the list, it's a very long list.
The first list that came had only the NPP ministers and their name highlighted until people started asking questions. And you know, in their report, the way it sounded, like they were still in school, they were still enjoying it. Meanwhile, that happened somewhere 2012, 2013. You understand? So they had even come out of the system. And yet you made it sound like it was ongoing.
But the findings was actually almost 80 pages. And he actually talked about just the entire process and how it's not even meant for people going to educate themselves abroad, but it's meant for people who are supposed to get education within Ghana. So I don't think
the Get Fund has two components. They have the internal and external components in funding. They have the local one, the internal one they fund, and they have the external one, which is only limited to people going to read science and its other components that will end. And at the end of it, in fact, India, they said it should benefit the country. You understand? Whatever you're going to learn. But it is mostly science-oriented programs. That's what I know. When I asked, that's what I was told.
Okay, but the specific point I'm pointing to, as far as the Auditor General's findings are concerned, point 36, where he says, according to Section 2.2b of the Get Fund Act, when it comes to funding of scholarships, the law dictates that the fund should be for secondary and tertiary education within the country. In other words, the money is for local scholarships and not foreign scholarships. So how did Get Fund end up spending over
I just wanted to get
million Ghana cedis on foreign scholarships, and over 2,000 of those people getting the scholarships illegally, and some of them not even fitting the bracket of
how do you classify all as illegally?
That was the findings. And
people have come out to dispute
that they
legally.
So what do you make of?
You see, that's where I think we need to be also mindful.
Okay.
And that's where, when Martin Amidu says we should stop targeting individuals, I have one problem with people who assume positions. You see, when you come and you want to run the authority or institutions as a one-man show, I always say that, look, I'm of the school of thought that I don't see why always you start to take the chief executive, the director general, out there on air trying to explain things. That's where you have PROs. You have professionals who have to be doing the talk. It is only when it gets to the last point where there are no resort that you come in. You understand? Because we know most chief executives, you hardly hear them talk because they have representatives who do the talking for them. But what do we see in this country? The moment one assumes power, wants to be seen that he or she is doing everything, and you see the person out there, and you as media men will also be chasing, even when the person has asked that, look, talk to this person, you wouldn't want to do that. You will still want to talk to the man at the helms of affair. You understand? So people then see that, look, it is a one-man thing. So if I need to also go after anybody, then I have to go for the head. And you see, when we do that, we demoralize everybody within the spectrum, which is not right. But where I say I stand to disagree with the special prosecutor is that where he say it's a targeted thing at going after everybody who is within the fighting
against corruption.
Against corruption.
Especially by politicians.
I don't think so.
Why?
That is, oh, come on. But is it only politicians that you can term as corrupt? We have, they only.
But we've had cases of politicians fighting with the Auditor General.
They are not fighting. People have expressed their opinion.
Concerns, okay.
Their concerns. You don't mean to tell me that they are also above any reproach. They are above critique. They are above being also jojoing. No. Okay. When you are handed over a position, that means you supersede everybody. We also have our own means of critiquing everything that you do, also having to express our opinion. And by that, I don't think it's an attack. It depends on where you stand and your idea and your motive. That will let you think like, look, yes, because you can't say that because it's a politician, whatever I say, people should take it holistically and move on.
And the politician can defend
and the politician can defend himself.
Okay.
Why? Is that what we're saying? No. So you should give people their right of expression, their right to defense. That is what we all need to cooperate, coordinate.
So shouldn't they defend themselves against the body of the Auditor General and not the individual?
But I think, you see, that's why in my submission I said, it depends on the style as the chief executive
you adopt.
Okay. Your approach is what will let people also aim at the individual or the whole authority or institution as a whole. So we should all be very mindful wherever we find ourselves. We should be mindful to know that at what point does it merit for me to come out and talk on issues. Okay. Because if there are professionals within the institutions who are mandated to do that, why don't I?
Okay.
But if I want to show that I'm the blowman of all, I'm the superior of all, that is where people also limit it to yourself. Because we're not saying they are not doing their work, but there's the instances that you see that they also pick on individuals. So you see the individuals also trying to defend themselves and going haywire.
Okay, thank you very much. We've also been joined by Jean-Marie Formadi, who's part of the National Communications team of the NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine,
thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about the Special Prosecutor asking politicians to stop intimidating heads of anti-corruption agencies, and he specifically referenced the Auditor General as far as politicians coming after him, and if they have issues with his findings, they should take him to court and not attack his person.
Yes. Just a quick one, please. Yeah. But you know, some have taken him to court.
Yes, they have.
You know that. Yes, so that's not far from the truth. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me first of all say good morning to the viewer. It's a very beautiful morning, and I also say good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is on a rescue mission to rescue Ghana from the oppressor's rule. In the I know Joyce. Yes, I know Joyce will not agree with me, but that is the situation. This getfund issue is something I think we all have to talk about. It shouldn't be left out the discussions like you are doing. The attack that the Special Prosecutor is talking about, I don't think it's an attack on the Attorney General. The Auditor General. Because he's done his work, and it is purely his work that he has done. People may criticize, people may accept the findings, people may say all sort of things, yes. But that is his work he's doing, and we have to allow him to do his work, yes. I don't think the Auditor General will feel intimidated by what people are saying, because he's done so many findings, and people spoke about it. So since he's doing his job, I don't see it as he being intimidated by anybody. And it is a fact that the findings that came out was, in fact, everybody is like, how can someone like a Minister of State, or maybe let's say someone like Honorable Addo, be entitled to such a scholarship.
Well,
because
she was serving the strategic national interest according to GetFund.
How? Because it is stated clearly by the GetFund laws that it should be for brilliant and needy students. Is Addo a needy student? Brilliant and needy students. Then I will say that the director himself, GetFund director himself, was not fair to the people of Ghana because it is our conscience problem. I take it purely as a conscience problem. If you have good conscience, look at the graduate who applied for the GetFund scholarship. Are they trying to tell us that? Is the board trying to tell us that Honorable Martin Prempeh qualifies more than the needy but brilliant...
Matthew Prempeh, the Minister of Education.
Minister of Education. Okay. Qualified than that needy student or graduate that needs scholarship to go abroad. Then what is Addo telling her constituents?
Well, what she's saying is, so the GetFund came out to respond to the Auditor General's findings, and they said that their purpose is not just to serve brilliant but needy students, but also people who are acting in the strategic national interest. So Honorable Matthew Prempeh and Honorable Addo may fall under that space of strategic national interest. Do you agree?
He is a Minister of Education.
At the time, he was MP. He was a Member of Parliament.
Yes, a Member of Parliament. The question is, even the Constitution stated that if it stated that the scholarship can be extended to for other educational purposes, but the minister should be consulted. So the question is, I know during the NDC's time, the Minister of Education was not consulted on issues of giving the scholarships. So the question is, was the minister consulted in the selection of these people, or is it the GetFund board that took it upon themselves to just look at the list, who is more beautiful or who is more strategic, and just picked?
Okay, so according to the Auditor General, the entire process was not very transparent.
Yes.
So
and this is the Auditor General speaking. They've done a lot of investigation, and this investigation was just not out of the blues, but because they realized that the monies to these brilliant but needy students abroad were not going. That is why they followed up on this investigation. Why is the money not going? Why are our students suffering abroad? Is the money being diverted elsewhere? For them to only realize that Deputy Agric Minister is a beneficiary.
Well, he has come out to say MPs, that he was not a beneficiary. That's Honorable Kennedy Osenyako. So let me quote what the Honorable Kennedy Osenyako said. He says, "My focus is, why does the Auditor General put my name on the list when I have not benefited? What is his motivation? What is he trying to achieve? We need to ask the Auditor General what his motivation is. As a responsible citizen, I am going to give the Auditor General an option. Either retract what he has published, and if he fails to do that, then my lawyers will proceed
a little
to court."
information. So his solicitors have written to the...
Yes, they've already taken the Auditor General's call. But even the way the Honorable Osenyako put it, he, as opposed to focusing on the institution, which is also what the Special Prosecutor is saying, that it's a body, it's not an individual.
Yes. So the Auditor General has worked. If you feel aggrieved, you petition.
But should he put names out there of people who are now saying, I didn't benefit?
Don't do due diligence?
If you had maybe reached out to me, Joyce, maybe if you had reached out to me, I could have provided further information as opposed to just putting my name out there when I've not benefited.
Yes, that is one out of the many.
Well, other people have come out, not just him.
That's why I say out of the many. Because there are people still on the list
who benefited, like Addo and Napo.
Yes. So if he has not benefited and he's petitioning, that is his
prerogative.
Yes. And he has we are in a democratic system, so nobody can just usurp his will or something. So he's right to do that. But the truth of the matter is that GetFund, they didn't work with their conscience. If they had gone... If you look at the list, and I believe there were people on the list that were more needy or that strategic position. Let's look at the strategic position.
Strategic national interest
that they are looking at. What course is Napo reading? There. that is so strategic that there are other people.
He's not reading it.
It was in the past. This was when he was MP, not current. That's fine.
Okay. Yes, but he still benefited anyway.
Yes, he did.
When he was an MP, I still insist there are people in his who were in his constituency then that needed that help more than him.
Okay.
It could have been his niece, his nephew, or somebody out there, or the constituents who were following him, shouting all the slogans of the NPP, following him, sweating here and there, who needed that help, and not Napo. Napo could have profited, done that by himself.
Okay.
So he cannot say that the constituents are more privileged than him. They are less privileged and need to be supported, not him. If I were him, I would have given that opportunity to my constituents who supported me to become an MP, rather than taking it myself, struggling with the needy but brilliant student in his constituency over the scholarship. There are people who also need to be in that strategic, who need that position, who can work in certain positions that need that scholarship to upgrade themselves, to empower themselves more, to work for Ghana, not him, Napo.
Okay.
Not Napo alone. Adjustable is also inclusive.
Yes.
Then she was an MP. She was an MP. Her constituents are there. If you go to Domekwa Benya, there are people there who might have applied. We cannot blame them alone, but those who granted them the scholarship. I mean, the Auditor General, as it said, all the people who benefited unlawfully should be surcharged. They should be surcharged because it is just not fair to the Ghanaian. This is taxpayers' money and all that. So the cake should be shared in a way that people, it is specified. It is for needy and brilliant students. They are not the only people in strategic position. More people applied. And if you look at the list, I believe
so I just want to confirm, Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh studied at the Harvard University School of Kennedy, and he studied senior executive in national and international security, and cumulatively perhaps about over $20,000 both tuition and his allowance. So someone could say that it was helping him better serve his people.
And that is a lot of money.
Strategic national interest. But I'll come back to you right after this.
That is a lot of money.
Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. We want to hear from you. So if you're watching us on social media, the hashtag is Breakfast Daily. If you want to reach us directly, the WhatsApp line is 05505855832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. The hashtag again is Breakfast Daily. If you want us to hear from you, and the WhatsApp line is 05505855832. If you want to reach us directly for outside Ghana, country code is +233. Before the break, we were discussing the special prosecutor asking politicians to stop attacking the Auditor General. If they have a problem with his findings, he should take him to court. And you were concluding your remarks.
Yes. As I was saying, the blame shouldn't be put on the individual beneficiaries alone, but the institution as a whole, because maybe they also didn't do their work well. And I believe that it's high time people who do things of that nature are brought to book. It's not only getfund, any other findings, any individual that is involved, any institution that is involved. I know that when my party comes to power, NDC, come 2020, December after the elections, we are not going to cover up all this things.
But this happened under the NDC, didn't it?
There was no findings.
The findings are for what went on under the NDC.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying that anybody that is...
Okay, so that you will do your investigations on this current
administration. So we are calling on the CID, the police, everybody that needs to do something about this issue to come out and do it. The getfund, the money that... Like the Deputy Minister of Agriculture is saying, he didn't benefit. So where did the money go? Whoever spent that money should be brought to book. That is what Ghanaians are calling for. Because our monies are going into things that we don't know. Like a lot of things are happening. The monies are coming up. People are measuring money, so we are not seeing what they are using the money for.
We do have to move on now to the next topic. So I'll allow you 1 minute.
We don't need to
just wrap up for us
or criminalize the report. That one I have to say. Even though there are a few places that we think we need to critique and then also bring out our opinions. But I think it's very healthy because it brings transformation and other into our institutions. We always want to dwell in the old style of doing things, which turns out not to be the proper way of doing things.
Okay.
These are things that will bring some kind of approach and clarity to everything.
Okay, thank you.
And also, just very important. We don't need to also criminalize and demoralize this person, because in our institutions, we know people are given opportunity to improve, upgrade themselves, where people are sent out for trainings and programs.
But that's not what the getfund is.
But the getfund is not for that purpose.
Hold it.
Right.
We know that people are given opportunities like that.
Yes.
What in my earlier submission, I said that all things are lawful, but not all things are lawful.
Yeah.
So we should know who benefits, because we have lived in a country that it's not only about getfund.
You mentioned the cocoa.
We know the cocoa fund, and we lived in this. You see, and that's why I have a problem with my sister, that you don't limit it to the MPP, where you were just mentioned.
It was a time frame.
Look, the time frame was they benefited from this thing under the NDC government, where we've seen that Joyce Muntari.
Well, we can't confirm all that, but we do have to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, you see,
I do have to wrap you up.
And I also saying that, look, with all this,
because some of them have also come out to say that they didn't benefit.
So, like she said,
and
which we all agree that with us, look, there should be proper investigation, because we know those things do happen in institutions. We know. When they started paying this, judgment debt, that people came and said, we send our name out there. I never benefited anything. And we just let it go down the drain like that. We need to prove further and name and shame people like that.
Thank you very much. We'll take a look at our second story here. I'm reading from citinewsroom.com, and it says, Special Prosecutor throws out ASEPA'S petition on alleged corruption in galamsey fight. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor has rejected a petition brought before it by the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability that requested the office to look into the recent acts of corruption in the fight against illegal mining in the country. So in response to the petition, the office indicated that it will not be in the interest of the country for another investigation to be conducted, as investigations by the Criminal Investigations Department are already underway. The Special Prosecutor also goes on to say, and I'm quoting him, a review of your letter of complaint, however, has led this office to the conclusion that the facts and conjectures upon which underpin your complaint do not raise any issue of corruption and corruption-related offences as narrowly defined under Section 79 of the Special Prosecutors Act 2017 Act 959 to warrant any investigations by the office. Now, we'll briefly walk through ASEPA'S concerns. They reached out to the Special Prosecutor and they asked them to investigate certain individuals involved with the galamsey issue. So I will go on to read their petition to the Special Prosecutor briefly, and then we will move on and hear from our guest. So they specifically quoted, so the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, is a public accountability civil service advocacy group operating in Ghana with prime interest in anti-corruption campaigns, civil advocacy, and environmental protection. So they petitioned the High Office pursuant to Section 2, 3B, and C of the Special Prosecutors Act 959/2017 to invoke the jurisdiction of the Special Prosecutor to open investigations into the alleged thievery and corruption that has bedeviled the national fight against illegal mining, that's galamsey. Now they go on to mention a couple of people. They said that about 2 weeks ago, our attention was drawn in a video in circulation on social media, which captures a conversation between one Eko Ewusi, who is the former Central Government Task Force against, was a former regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party and a member of the government task force against galamsey, and Professor Frimpong Boateng, who's the current Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. They also go on to talk about how Mr. Kowusi in the video is heard narrating how Professor Frimpong Boateng, who chairs the IMCIM, authorized him to facilitate the illegal mining business of John Boadu, the General Secretary of the NPP, Chairman Wontumi, and other NPP functionaries, and so on and so forth. So they wanted the special prosecutor to investigate these individuals, but the special prosecutor has come out to say that the CID is already doing that, so his office does not have to tackle it. And he also doesn't believe that it falls under corruption per the act that he mentioned, Act 959/2017. So, Joyce, I think I'll start with you on this case.
Well, like you said, ASEPA, is that I got ASEPA. I got the name right. Petition the special prosecutor in relation to some missing excavators and all those things. And today he has come out redirecting them because, according to him, in fact,
CID is already investigating the matter.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not so. That's the way to. So we'll handle it our own way. And he's made reference for the CID already investigating these issues and doesn't think that it is. We know that in the law, the same thing is not repeated or investigated twice. I believe from the findings of the CID, where they find any criminality or corrupt this thing, I think that's when they can forward it to other agencies and departments that are also deemed to handle those things. So, well, in fact, like I said, I'm not so conversant with the laws and those things just to say, but he has made mention of the Act 959, like you said, Act 2017, which give clarity to issues that can come before him and all those things. ASEPA had raised issues. We know 6 people were arrested and they've been granted bail and they are being investigated and all those things. So I think we'll allow the CID to do their work. Then the outcomes or the fallout of their investigation can also inform the citizens and agencies that matter to see how to move on with the case.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the fight against galamsey, the corruption issues that are being raised, ASEPA, as they came out, were not wrong. And the special prosecutor, well, as is mentioned, CID is investigating the matter and all that. But I think he didn't only say that because CID is investigating the matter, they wouldn't be able to mention it. He said he didn't raise any issues of corruption, which they did. So if he's telling them that CID is investigating, so we cannot do a double, like 2 people, institutions investigating the same issue. That should be more reasonable than saying that they didn't raise any corruption issue, because they mentioned it that there is thievery, there is corruption, and all that. That Ghanaians should know that they mentioned there is thievery, there is corruption in this galamsey issue. So that should be put on record that is what they said.
But he said as narrowly defined under Section 79 of the Special Prosecutors Act.
But I
so
remember
the definition of that act.
Anas sent a case to a special prosecutor, which was already being investigated by the CID. So,
but the special prosecutor said he was doing that case first before the CID took it up. Yes. So it was a reverse.
This one, CID is doing it first. Then they need to fast track the process.
Okay.
They need to fast track the process because our water bodies are being destroyed, people's livelihood, and look at the water that I saw a video, and the water that was coming from the tap was just too bad for the consumption. People are having skin rashes. Hospital reports are proving that
it's actually doubled from 2017.
Yes, to about 50%. And I think it's a national security threat, which should be worked on. Look at the River Pra, which ran through about 4 communities, having about 1,600 people. So I think that all those things should be of national interest. That it's a national security threat that I think the CID should fast track each process of the investigations for the culprit to be brought to book. I know this galamsey people, there are people who have legal license.
The small-scale miners.
The small-scale miners who are operating legally.
Who were stopped.
Yeah.
And then there were the illegal ones too who were stopped.
Because we had a few months where we...
Yes.
There was a ban on mining
altogether.
For them to regularize...
But stories have come up.
The ban was lifted.
Yes. Stories have come up that after stopping all these, both legal and illegal miners...
After placing the ban on it altogether.
And then seizing their excavators and all that these same excavators were being used by the ruling party members. So, which is, I think, is not fair. You know, some of these people took loans to buy the excavators to work. So, if you have seized it, if something needs to be done about it, you need to fast track it because their loans it's building up and they have to pay more interest.
But if they were using it illegally, then you can't.
That's why I said that if you have seized it, is it seized forever or you seize for the matter to be investigated and all that?
Yeah.
So if it is seized from a legal miner and you are using it to do the same job that the person was doing and you seized it, then you are not being fair to that person. And stories have come up that is what they did. After seizing the excavators, they were using it to do the same job that they stopped the legal miners from doing.
And these are all allegations.
That's why I said that they should fast track the investigation.
Okay.
And then let's know the whereabouts of the excavators, that the gold that were seized from the people, the monies that were collected from the people, because life is getting very bad under this government. People cannot, even those who are not mining and they are selling, people are not buying. So if you have stopped the legal mining, the ban has been lifted, give them the excavators to go back and work. The excavators too, they can find it. Okay. Where are the excavators? Okay. Ghanaians want to know...
But the bulk of the excavators were captured from the people participating in illegal mining.
So, but is it for the ruling government to share among themselves and use for personal use? No.
And so all these allegations?
Yes. Okay. That is. So I kept saying that the matter should be fast-tracked.
Okay.
Because it is a national security threat. Because
to
end galamsey. Okay. Our water bodies are being destroyed. People don't have safe drinking water. Sicknesses, cancers, kidney problems because of this mercury and stuff that they use in the mining and all that. People are having kidney problems and all that. So something must be done about it. If Special Prosecutor is saying that the CID is already working on it, we want to see them work on it. Because President Nana Akufo-Addo told Ghanaians that he will put his job on the line to stop this galamsey. We are waiting on him. If I were to be him, for credibility's sake, like by now, he should have even resigned. Because the things that are going on now under this galamsey issue, it's an eyesore.
Okay.
If I were his own people,
addressed what the
his
government
executives,
is doing in the State of the Nations.
It's been quite some time now. It's a long time now. What are they doing?
Okay, he addressed exactly what they were doing on Thursday when he addressed the nation.
They should fast track it.
Okay, briefly, and then we'll move on.
You see, the president, as he said, know the effects, the impact of illegal mining in this country. And he still stands by his word. In the SONA address, you realize that he still retracted his position on the fight against illegal mining in this country. I have said it anywhere I find myself that, look, anyone who is found culpable, who is found to go against the laws of this land, perpetrating an illegal act, must be dealt with. It doesn't. In fact, we should not look at any political colors. I'm not for it. Whoever is found harming this nation should be dealt with. Look, you see, but when we want to narrow it, the fight against illegal mining started before even the president. We know in the
late 80s.
We know in the late 80s and those things, and we know the former president, the fight. What happened? Excavators and things that were seized. What did we hear? We did not even take stock. There was no record to show that this was... Look, and you know, Chairman Wood to me made mention there was a time he was out there that they said, look, I said, we should not even just limit it to those doing the mining. From our ports, those who help in clearing these excavators, my sister, ask yourself, those bringing, are they bringing out proper documentation to see that they are legally mandated to bring in these machines. We allow our borders, we've polarized our borders, there's no monitoring and this thing. So we allow them to fester in, and then it becomes a menace on us that we all have to come and sit here, and talk about it. It is one thing we need to look. We need to tackle it from the port, from the entry point, and make sure that we get it right. Because if there are documents, there's everything that you can import a mining equipment. Joyce does not. When I bring mining equipment to this country, they shouldn't allow entry into this country. The first and foremost. And I think if we're able to start fighting it at the entry point, we'll get somewhere. But we allow people to just bring it and now we go chasing them. What do you think we'll be doing? That is also breed a form of corruption, because others want to take advantage of the situation and make use of it. Those are the things we need to fight against. Okay. And we should stop just minimizing or targeting individuals. When it is a national threat. It is a national disaster. It is something that we all need to rise up against. I need my water to flow 24/7. I need, anytime I go to my tap, I should be able to fetch water and drink. Look, plastic is denigrating our soil. We are destroying our soil. Years to come, nothing can grow on our soil with plastic. If there is water flowing in our taps, go to Israel. They don't serve bottled water. Bottled water is very expensive. You buy a bottle of water, the small one, at $1, $2. But if I know I can walk to my tap and fetch water and drink, and I know it's 100% proof or 99% proof that I'm drinking good water, why not? Who will not be satisfied with that?
Thank you very much. We have received some messages from you, so I'll read it briefly. There's a message here. This is a performance audit report, not a financial audit. How did the Auditor General reports? How are audit reports lead? Audit query to management. Answer to queries reviewed. Report sent to Parliament before it becomes a public document. Why are these processes not followed but rushed to present to the public domain? So this is a question for the Auditor General. Let's face it, when the Auditor General did a poor job and the NDC is belaboring the peripheral issue, the issue we should be more worried about is the fact that there are names of supposed beneficiaries who actually never benefited. So this comes from
just like Joyce Bauer, Gina Paul, and they never benefited from the getfund.
And Kennedy Osei-Nyako also says he's never benefited from the fund.
They got it from
my honest view this morning.
You're talking about getfund.
Our viewers want us to read their messages.
Can we
allow
who shouldn't have benefited from any?
Don't confuse the viewer out there.
Jean-Marie,
watching the program.
When two of you were talking,
he is.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
But Joyce never benefited from getfund.
I'm talking now. Thank you very much.
Are we talking about
My honest view this morning is that Martin Amidu should be charged for causing financial loss to the state, also for lying against former administration. How could he be given a position to fight corruption, yet he couldn't investigate a single act of corruption under the most corrupt government? There is enough evidence, both pictorial and video, to prosecute, yet he pretends not to. I think he has a case that he's working on that he mentioned, actually. Wolanyo from Akotia says, minority refuses to participate in the proceedings, where you're referencing to State of the Nation's address in Parliament, but went to listen to it on radio and television. They are becoming okay. So thank you guys for sending your messages in. We'll take a look at our final story here because we are quickly running out of time. Sanctioned appeal court judge for endorsing Addo. That's coming from the Volta Region NDC. So they are saying that National Democratic Congress Volta Region Secretariat has condemned the paramount chief of the Nyagbot traditional area, who doubles as an appeals court judge, Justice Clement Honyenuga, for endorsing the candidature of the president. I'm going to quote what the justice said, and that's Justice Jackson. With the vision of the president and the gains made from his first term, Ghanaians may consider giving him another 4 years. Now, the Volta Region branch of the NDC are saying that he can't speak in that manner because even though he's a chief, he also serves as a justice. So he shouldn't have been endorsing a candidate. Jean-Marie, let me start with you on this story.
I think the Volta Regional Executive NDC is very correct in asking the appeal court judge to step aside because, one, he is a lawmaker and he knows the law more than any other person in this country. The law is like a Bible to the judge that he reads every day. So we expect that he knows better than, if maybe I should do that, yes, I may be pardoned, but not an appeals court judge. If you read Article 55(2)(b), it states specifically that a judge should not publicly endorse or even oppose another candidate for political office. And now you are out there telling Ghanaians, praising President Nana Akufo-Addo and all that, which we expect that you as a judge, you should know. Someone will say he's a chief, but the same constitution also bars chiefs from political activities. Other than that, we will see our chiefs in political positions, vying for parliamentary positions and all that. But the constitution also says that, when you read Article 2761, it states that a chief should not participate in political activities. If you want to do that, you have to do what? You have to abdicate your seat before you can participate in political activities. So as a chief
and a judge,
you are bound not to do any of what he has done. So I think the party is right, the Volta Regional Party is right.
You agree with them?
Yes, I agree with them perfectly. And we are calling on the Chief Justice and anybody, because when you go to their Code of Conduct, that is the Judges and Magistrate Code of Conduct, Section C of their Rule 6, it also states that you shouldn't involve yourself in politics.
Thank you very much.
So we have the law, which he holds in his bosom, as a Bible and everything that he reads every day, telling him as a chief and as a judge not to meddle in politics. So he should just do the needful.
Thank you. Joyce.
Well, I never knew this time people will see the right and then the wrong. The chickens have come home to roost.
How so?
Oh, how so? 2016, you heard all around. The chief of Doma, was it not an appeals court? I stand to be corrected. Was it an appeals court or Supreme Court?
I'll have to check.
Yeah. He was. When he did the pronouncement, nobody can unseat you, John Dramani Mahama. We're in this country. We never had people.
But if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Hold it. That's why I say yes. It is good today. People are realizing that it is wrong. But that's why I started to ask them. Then did they know that it was wrong? Then when the praises were coming, they were dancing to it. You see, when it is you say it bits hard. When somebody, you say it's just linking, or what do you say? That's how you see it. 2016, we had the chief of, is it Esutifi? Also, even just recently. Well, I understand. Recently, when he went to their flag bearer, went to Western North, the Secretary areas, we have the chief also coming and doing.
Were they judges as
well? Hold it, I'm bringing there. She made reference to him being the chief and then being the church. And I've given you reference to the Domahene, then 2016. I see that, look, maybe in his seat, he wasn't acting or doing those pronouncements in his seat as a Supreme Court judge. Because he, at that time, he was sitting in as a chief. You understand? So he might be doing those pronouncements as a citizen of the country and not as. So when we all see that there are faults, there are loopholes, well, wherever your friend falls short, you think that is right for you to take advantage of. When it comes back to hit you, then you more.
See, and that's
how we say that. Look, we should all be very mindful.
Thank you very much.
I think that when the chairs are loud,
they know
you
that
always need to be very careful.
Thank you very much. Joyce Zempare is the Deputy Director of the NPP, Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP, and Jean-Marie Formadi is part of the National Communications Team for the NDC. Thank you both so much for being with us this Wednesday morning.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll be talking
Have a good midweek.
You too.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you subscribe, Like, comment, and share with your friends. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.